Come along, children. Now we're going to have a little music.
Yo, what is good, guys? Welcome back to First Cut. I am Andres, and I'm here with the crew, Wikum and RB3, here to talk about the Andor trailer that we just watched. We are excited to get into it. We live in a world that is all about trailer reactions and trailer hype, and talking about the art of making a good trailer. But what did you guys think of this one? I'll start with you, RB3.
Man, I love this trailer. This was honestly, I was super excited for this. Star Wars TV has been up and down for me. I really love Mandalorian season 1. Wasn't the biggest fan of Book of Boba Fett. But Obi-Wan Kenobi was definitely much watched TV for me. Certain episodes of Star Wars Visions were really, really spectacular. I know that's something we talked about in Dress. This show, when I first saw the trailer and saw how gorgeous and luscious it looked, returning us back to that deep, entrenched war feel of Rogue One. The fact that they, I read some tweets that's saying that they didn't use the volume for this, that they shot on real locations. And for some instinctual reason, like you could kind of tell a little bit. So I really appreciated that. And just seeing like the A-list cast that they had on board, not only our man Diego Luna returning as Andor, but Stellan Skarsgård is looking like he's going to be playing a prominent part. Forrest Whitaker returning as Saw Gerrera. Everything about this trailer and the music just, I think the music is what really sold me the most, honestly. So I'm excited about this movie. I'm hyped.
What about you, Wiggum?
My relationship with Star Wars TV shows has been very complicated. I'm back and forth. I saw a lot of. I really loved Obi-Wan. Mandalorian was chill. Book of Boba Fett haven't get a chance to watch yet, but I guess the main takeaway from this show is sort of the time frame that it takes place in, and I kind of sort of have this issue with even like Marvel or anything else really, any franchise really, of like telling a story that's an in-between story. So it's like in between other parts of the timeline. And I know like a lot of, I think all of the Star Wars shows are in-between stories. The only things that were sequels were the sequel Rey trilogy. And I guess part of me is a little frustrated that they don't either continue the timeline or go to before the original film, or not the original, the episodes 1, 2, and 3, like going towards the Old Republic. I want to see stories told there. I want to see stuff after the fall of the Empire. So I guess that was my biggest thing of like, okay, here's another in-between story. Like, we generally know what's going to happen with the Empire at the end of the story, and we know how everything started. So I got a little bit of mixed feelings about it.
That's okay, man. That's cool. I feel like when it comes to Star Wars, I feel like prequels is kind of what they do, whether it is the TV shows, whether it is the prequels in general. It's interesting, right? Because we always talk about what comes before in a case of a movie or a film. When it comes to other films, because that's an easy way to do a spin-off for other movies. So it's very interesting how this is a time period that we've explored so many times. I think the only thing about it is like, how do you do it, right? So for my thing is like, if you're going to make this show Andor and make it about Cassian Andor, a character that we know who dies in Rogue One, how are you going to tell this story and how are you going to make it compelling for people to watch? And that's why for me, that makes me excited, because if they greenlit this entire show and they put that budget, and like you said, RB3, they made those real life locations that cost a lot of more money, that means they're confident as F in this show that they did make it compelling and that they did make it very original and very down to the ground and unique in the way it's shot and the way it's directed and the way the story is told. And the thing that's holding it together, you know what it is, RB3, it's Tony Gilroy. Tony Gilroy is a boss. For anyone who doesn't know, is the guy behind Nightcrawler, and he's an incredible writer, and he knows what he's doing when it comes to these kind of stories and these kind of shows. And a character like a Cassian, who's already kind of a badass in Rogue One, I'm so incredibly hyped for this show, and I'm excited. But kind of going off of your thing, Wickham, they are doing a show based on that. It's 100 years before Phantom Menace, and that's The Acolyte, and that's with Amanda Stolfred. It's the girl from The Hit You Give, RB3.
Oh.
That's who's doing the show, and it's set 100 years before the prequels. They're going to do more, old school Jedi type stuff, which is kind of cool for me. I think that's awesome. But I'm excited for the show, man. I think what you're saying is spot on, RB3. I think Nicholas Bertel is. Just tell me he's in it, and I'm already like, yo, the music, this is good enough for me. This can make the show.
Right, and I think Wickham makes a good point though in the fact of like where is the story going to go? Like, are we going to get Black Widowed? Right, because they did a whole Black Widow film after she died, and then by the time we got to the film, it's like, oh, what was the point? Like, we already know where her character's headed. So I guess I'm excited to see not only what story that they have to offer in the Andor film, but in the Andor story, but maybe what do they have to set forward for us too? Like, what new that they have to introduce for us? Because so far the TV shows have done a pretty good job of introducing like some sort of new concept or some sort of new theme or idea to the universe somehow. So I'm curious to see what this is going to be, and I'm curious to see how. I like that it's going back to that Rogue One feel, because I feel like Rogue One was such an influential part of how the Star Wars aesthetic looks now that Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, both directly kind of take from the look of Rogue One, but kind of going back to that OG feel is something that to look forward to a little bit. But, to what ends, we got to see. Sometimes these stories be lacking. I thought Obi-Wan had his up and downs, but the ending was phenomenal by the time we got to the ending. So hopefully this one is a little bit more straightforward. I think having a storyteller like Tony Gilroy is going to keep it a little bit more like straight. And I think, we're going to talk about maybe like what's up with the release date. I'm hoping that they pushed it back a little bit to focus a little bit more on timing, editing, pacing, and visual effects, which are all things that I thought were lacking in Obi-Wan. I thought the editing in Obi-Wan was not up to snuff. I thought there was multiple scenes that were overlong and weirdly pasted. I thought there were some scenes that were too short. So I hope that they take some time and look at the editing and look at the cuts.
Yeah, when it comes to the release date, Wickham, do you feel like this is like they want to have their own date? Because they're moving away from She-Hulk. Because I feel like, the whole Marvel versus Disney thing, I don't know if you caught on to this, Wickham, but there was like Miss Marvel coming out at the same time as Obi-Wan. And then there was another one too. I think it was Bad Batch and Loki maybe. But the overcross between two shows, Star Wars and Marvel. Do you feel like this is a better way to kind of move and make it their own thing as far as making it in September now?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I feel like having Miss Marvel and Obi-Wan at the same time was like almost a little too much for me.
It was whack.
So I was like, okay, another MCU film, and I'm getting this like insane reliving my childhood, like Ian McGregor. Like I can't process all this like at the same time. Like I don't know about you guys, but I like to like. After I watch the shows, I also go on YouTube and watch the analysis and their views and the Easter eggs and the predictions. So like, I wasn't able to do that for either shows fully because they were out at the same time. So I think pushing it to September is a good way to separate that. And but I also think that if they are pushing it for VFX, I think that's a good call, because I think Miss Marvel was a little lacking in VFX quality. Compared to the rest of the MCU or just the rest of Disney in general. And Obi-Wan 2 was a little lacking in VFX. It visually felt a little rushed at times. So, and Disney's upping their output so fast. Like, they're making so many more movies, so much faster, that, like, I don't think it's a bad idea to push the date back if you need to work on the VFX a little bit more and perfect it.
Yeah, I think it's a smart move, too. Again, She-Hulk. What's the point of overshadowing She-Hulk? It's already, underadvantaged, in my opinion. I think in a lot of people's opinion. RB3.
Because nobody wants to watch it? Nobody wants to watch it?
People are kind of trepidatious toward it. So now you're like, hey, now you don't have any excuse. You have the whole night to watch it. So I feel like it might, encourage people to watch it more. But also, as the only one here who's the Game of Thrones head, the Game of Thrones expert, y'all don't want to mess with House of the Dragon. because we gonna kick y'all's ass. No, I'm playing. No, but we out here, bro. We House of the Dragon stands. We are here to take over. So I think Disney was smart and not to try and compete with Game of Thrones heads like me. But either way, we're excited for Andor. We're looking forward to it for the most part. We just want to see where this is going to go. I think one thing that's unique that hasn't been said is that the tone seems to be, like what you said, RB3, very consistent. And I feel like that's all about the creator. And I think Tony Gilroy is going to give us at least one thing, and that's a consistent tone. And that's something that people have complained about when it comes to Marvel and when it comes to other content, and even Star Wars. But for me, I think like when it comes to tone, I think Tony Gilroy really just wanted to like get Star Wars and just be like, you know what? I've always wanted to make this the most serious political thriller, revolutionary, like anti-fascist.
Drenched in darkness.
Yeah, like anti-fascist, overthrowing this evil empire, old school kind of like dark tone that I don't think we've ever had in Star Wars, completely ever had in Star Wars. I think the closest we got was Rogue One. So this is going to be a good time, in my opinion, when it comes to people who want to have a more complex political aspect in Star Wars, which is someone like me, because I would love that. So either way, guys, those were our thoughts on the Andor trailer. Let us know what you thought in the comments down below. All of you looking forward to it. Let us know all that good stuff down in the comments below. You can follow us at FirstCutTMO. You can follow me at Squad Leader Ace, RB3. Where can they follow you?
Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Director RB3.
You guys can follow me on TikTok and Instagram at WIKVM.
By the way, guys, make sure you check out more of our content, more of our videos. We are on TikTok. We are on Instagram Reels as well. So make sure you guys check that out as well. But either way, for the First Cut crew, we're going to be deucing out. So deuces.